section of this chapter, and it's just an introduction, and again, it's something you've done before: perimeter, circumference, and area. Perimeter, everyone remember, means distance around. Okay? Quiet. Circumference and perimeter are the same thing. It's just circumference refers to a circle. Area is the space inside. Now, one thing you got to remember is perimeter and circumference is just the distance. Inches, feet, miles, centimeters, yards. Area is space. Area is two-dimensional. Two-dimensional is like when you see a TV, you can't reach into it, you just see the flat screen. So this wall is two-dimensional, I can't reach through it. So since it's two-dimensional, it's always labeled squared. Feet squared, inches squared, whatever. Okay? So here's the basic ones that we'll be doing. Squares and rectangles are the same. I don't think I got to go through perimeter, do I?
No, sir.
Area is just length times width. On a square, the length and width are the same. So you could just, it's S, the side times the side, which you could write as side squared. Okay? A triangle. Remember how to find the area of a triangle?
Length times width.
Base times height divided by 2. The reason why is a parallelogram is just a rectangle that's been tipped. This is the length and this is the height. The area is length times height or width. So instead of length they use base, and instead of width they use height. So you could call a parallelogram base times height. Now, any triangle that you've got, doesn't matter what it looks like, if you duplicate it and flip it, it'll form a parallelogram. So two triangles will form a parallelogram. That's why you have to divide by 2. It's half of a parallelogram. That makes sense to everyone?
Yeah.
Okay. Circle. These two formulas, circumference, and remember circumference?
Yeah.
That's pi times square, pi squared times that.
Okay, remember squared is only used in area.
Yeah, pi times diameter.
Pi times diameter. Pi times diameter, or 2 pi r. Because 2 radiuses is the same as a diameter. You guys remember radius and diameter?
Yes, sir.
Halfway, diameter is all the way.
Yep.
Area then is pi aren't round, pi r squared. Okay, so we shouldn't have to go through these.
No, sir.
Area is 8 times, the label though. If it's got a label, you got to label your answer. So that's 104 meters squared for the area. The perimeter, you just add them up. 42 meters. Okay, so make sure you get the labels correct. Area. First of all, let's do the circumference. Circumference is just pi times diameter. Now, you'll notice in this book, actually next year it's more so in Algebra 2, but a little bit in here. When they tell you to find the circumference, they'll say, leave in terms of pi. So, the circumference is pi times 12. When they say leave in terms of pi, that means don't actually multiply them together. The answer is pi times 12, but the way you'd write it is 12 pi. It's easier to say, easier to read. So that's just leaving in terms of pi. So you don't have to do the math. Right? So the area is pi times the radius squared. What's the radius? 6.
36 is dynamic.
So that'd be 36 pi, okay, for the area. And the label, this would just be in inches. and this would be in inches squared,
Oh, yeah.
okay?
Oh, yeah.
Now, most of the time in geometry, we round to the nearest tenth.
No.
So, just so you know, when we do circle stuff, sometimes they'll tell you, like right here, use 3.14.
Yeah.
There is a pi button you can use,
Wow.
but you may get a little different answers. It still would be correct.
Nice.
The bigger this number is, the more it's gonna vary. So like the circumference, or I'll just do the area, 36 times 3.14 is 113.04 inches squared. If I use the pi button, I get 113.10 inches squared. You get two different numbers using the pi button and this, and the reason why is because this is rounded. So this is the more accurate one, but that's not incorrect. So when we do these, I'll tell you like if your answer is within whatever, because it can vary whichever one you do. Okay, here we're finding the area and perimeter of this triangle.
Well, that's not that hard.
In this case, the area is easy to do. Area is the base, which we can just count, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 units long, times the height, which we can count, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then don't forget you gotta divide by 2. So it's just 18. Now, if there is no label, you don't have to label them. Same thing in all your assignments all year long. If you want to get in the habit of always labeling to make sure you get them right, if there's nothing on there, you just put U squared for unit squared. Now, perimeter on this one is tougher. Perimeter, you got to add up all the sides. This side I know is 6. Yeah.
For the area of triangle, do you add the base and height or multiply?
Multiply, base times height.
Okay.
So this side is 6, but what are we gonna have to do to figure out this side?
Slope.
That's slope.
Where's the other one?
Yeah.
No, that's slope.
Do that thing we did earlier.
What's it called?
I don't know. I just know how to do
X
it.
minus X
Distance formula.
distance formula.
Yeah, that's what you said.
You gotta find the distance. So x minus x, 4 minus 1 is 3 squared, plus y minus y, 8 minus 2 is 6 squared, square rooted.
9 is 36.
So it's equal to the square root of 45, which, if we rounded it, it would round to 6.7.
That's it.
Now, I'm gonna show you something, we're gonna jump ahead a little bit here. If you had to guess, if this is 6.7, any idea what that one is?
6.7.
It is. You're gonna see this a lot, so if you can remember this, it'll save you some figuring out. This triangle, if I draw from this one straight down at a 90, and it splits this in half,
Yeah.
that means these two sides are gonna be equal every single time.
So it's a,
So if you see a picture like this, and this is 90 and this equals that, these two sides are the same.
It's awesome.
Okay.
that's what I
It's
said.
isosceles, correct. So, the perimeter then, we would just add up all the sides. And it'd be 19.4 units around. Okay. Again, quickly, areas is length times width, millimeters squared. Perimeter is 48, 12, 12, 12, and 12, just millimeters. A triangle. is base times height divided by 2. 20 times 15 divided by 2 is 150 inches squared. The perimeter, you add them all up. 20, 15, and 25 is 60 inches. Here they tell us to use 3.14. So the area is pi times the radius squared. And then again, we can just round these to the nearest tenth. 380.1 centimeters squared. The circumference is pi times the diameter all the way across. 69.1 centimeters. Okay, here we got one where you gotta graph it. J is 1.1 over 4 up. K is 9 over 4 up. And L is 4 over 0 up. So, the area is going to be easy to find. Remember, you don't have to use the bottom as the base. I could use this as the base and just count it. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then the height is how tall it is. It's just upside down. 1, 2, 3, 4. So the area is 8 times 4 divided by 2 is 16 units squared. The perimeter, I've got to do some figuring out. I know this is 8. I got to use the distance formula to find those two. So from J to L, x minus x, 4 minus 1 is 3 squared, plus y minus y is 4 squared. And square root it, it turns out to be 5. This one from K to L, x minus x is 5 squared, 4 minus 0, y minus y is 4 squared, square rooted,
6.4.
6.4. So, the perimeter is 8 plus 5 plus 6.4. Now, here, they give you the area. You're making a triangular kite that has a height of 64. So, something like this. The height is 64. They don't know the base. They're wondering what the base is. But then they tell you the area is 4,096. So all you do is use the equation. Base times height divided by 2 equals the area. And plug these in. I don't know B, so that stays B. I do know the height, so I put 64 in there. Divided by 2 equals the area. So everyone remember the 2 steps? How to figure out what B is?
Yeah,
Times
it by 2.
Times it by 2.
Divided by 6.
Divided by 64. It's divided by 2, so you do the opposite. You take it times 2. So you'd have B times 64 equals 8,192. And then divide by 64. It'd be 128. The B would be 128 inches.
Square.
No, because it's just the length.
Or the area.
Yes.
I'm sorry.